if any of your bones are dry, there's a problem. Your bones have to always be wet.
Yes. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Educational.
Yeah, because if you have a dry bone, it means that it's outside of your body and therefore is not covered in the internal wetness of the human form.
This sentence keeps getting better.
Do you want to start the podcast?
No. Hello and welcome to episode 92 of the MisanthroPod. I'm Snipe, and as always, I'm joined by Wib Wetbones Johnson. Say hello.
Hello there.
And I'm also joined by drummer Matt Drybones Johnson. Say hello.
Hello.
That doesn't sound very dry.
I got better.
Okay. How are you lovely gentlemen? Full of calcium, I hope.
Fine, I guess. How are you, Matt?
Yeah, good. Snipe, dare I ask?
I'm feeling incredibly good. My bones are at the appropriate level of moisture. I'm feeling decent today.
Basically, what you're doing right now is you're just making it absolutely necessary that we include the cold open of you saying things rather than the thing that Matt was saying earlier. You're just making it so that it has to go in because it is inseparable from the rest of the recording.
Well, I mean, drummer Matt can have his stinger at the end, so it's fine.
You think one of us will remember to do that?
I probably will.
You probably won't.
No.
Tune in next time.
I can't even remember what drummer Matt said, but it was probably really weird and dodgy.
Yeah,
I can't
but
remember.
anyway, I should probably mention one little thing before we go balls deep into the podcast. Which is that
Before we wet our bones.
before we wet our bones, I just want to say thank you to all of the people who left comments regarding the last podcast, which were 90% people discussing how they drink paint. Which I was not expecting.
That's how they wet their bones.
Are we,
paint?
legally responsible for that?
No.
No, they didn't drink paint because we told them not to drink paint. They were basically going, don't tell me what to do, Dad. When we named the podcast Don't Drink Paint.
Loads of paint, actually.
That explains a lot.
Fuck off.
Yeah.
It's like, I've graduated from, baby drinks, base or layer paints. I don't drink, weathering powder. I drink texture paints.
Oh, yeah, texture paint. She's got a bit of crunch to it.
Especially if you leave it open for a little bit, let the air get to it and let it bloom. And it's just, a bit of crunch.
I don't know what contrast paint tastes like yet.
Yet. There's still time.
I think we've all eaten a little bit of paint whilst painting at some point. You need to
It's when you need to re-stiffen your paintbrush, so put it in your mouth, but that and use your saliva. But usually it's you wash it off,
and sometimes
you forget, and you've just got a big glob of Eshin grey, and you're like, I'd much preferred washers.
I can't remember which one it is. There is one paint that GW does that is oddly sweet.
Tastes like Calpol.
God, that's dangerous.
If it
Can
tastes
you
like,
imagine? It's like, hey kids, one of our paints tastes like Calpol. Try
does it
them
taste
all.
like old Calpol?
Yes.
Oh.
Do you remember those Calpol jelly beans at that gig venue we always used to play at?
Oh yeah, that was great.
Ooh, they
So
were
a little bit
good.
of backstory for people who are either too young or
Not British enough,
Not
because I
British
didn't
enough.
know about this phenomena until I came over here.
So Calpol is a medicine that you give to kids, and if I remember rightly, it's just basically kids' paracetamol.
It's like that sugary liquid painkiller that you give to children that won't take tablets.
Yeah, and it's I think we might have talked about it before, but it was a long time ago. And the old stuff was super sweet, so it tasted really nice.
It was really gritty because it had so much sugar in it.
Yeah, now it's nowhere near that.
Because sugar tax.
But we found some jelly beans that tasted exactly like old school Calpol, which was great.
Yeah, and suddenly I realised why every English person I'd encountered was obsessed with Calpol. I was like, oh shit, yeah, this makes sense.
But yeah, so to reiterate, don't drink paint.
Unless it's the Calpol flavoured
Unless
paint.
it tastes like Calpol, in which case fill your boots.
No, that's not how you drink.
Osmosis, it's fine. But yeah.
That reminds me how my mother used to complain, because I always used to draw on my hands all the time, because they couldn't take my hands from me.
No, that's true. They tried.
And
they failed.
They failed.
Yeah.
They failed, and now I have more hands than they do. But yeah, and I'd write like on the inside of my wrists, or I'd draw like stupid pictures, and my mother was like, "Stop doing this! When you write on your wrists, the ink goes into your bloodstream and to your heart and can kill you." And even at the age of like 7, I was like, "Bitch, you are fucking high." There is no way that happens.
I would like to know
Fuck
the
me.
amount of like ink you'd have to put on yourself for it to actually like do any damage.
I have
to you.
literally paid 2 very fine people to inject me with copious amounts of ink, and I'm still fine.
I think a tattoo is quite a different thing to
A biro.
a biro.
Yeah. Maybe it's more like popcorn, like scented gel pens. Do you remember, like,
What?
people at school, they would always, like scented gel pens were, like, this huge, like, status symbol. And then they'd suck on the gel tube so that all the gel would come out, and then like, ink would explode in their mouths. They'd be like, "Ness, my gel pen exploded," and they're, like, literally just blue, like, ink pouring out of their
Honey.
mouth that stinks of blueberry. What?
I'm just going to say it has never been more apparent that you went to school in the Amber Valley.
Yeah, that's
I have 2 points. I also remember the gel pen flavoured scented things.
Yes!
But you do an oddly good impression of someone who's got a lot of ink in their mouth.
Thank you! I'm a voice
I just feel
actor.
like, you should compliment people when they do something good.
No, and thank you very much, Drummer Matt. I really appreciate you doing that.
Jesus fucking Christ.
All right, who's
Yeah.
done stuff?
Wibble it. You.
Yes.
You there.
Yes, me.
What have you been up to, dear?
I've been up to so many things that it is uncomfortable how many things I've been up to.
Is it a blasphemous amount
It is
of
a
things?
blasphemous amount of things. Okay, so...
Have you been sneaking into the zoo and making wank gestures at the gorillas?
Not this week, no.
Alright. I
And
do hope you've avoided eye contact.
And anyway, it was the meerkats.
Okay. Wanky meerkats,
I was going to say,
he calls
you
them.
thought it was the gorillas. It was actually the Brexit Party. And he was like, wang.
Yeah, but he only thought that once
God,
they
yeah.
started throwing their shit around.
Oh god, yeah, that's the thing. By the time this podcast comes out, the general election results would have come in.
Oh, God. Yeah, that is general news. And we might all, live in more of a hellscape.
I hope. Okay, I hate to be like really overtly political in the podcast. I lie. I hide it.
There's a person who isn't male here. Like, me being here is political.
Oh yeah. But I just want to say, I hope you fuckers voted on Thursday if you're in the UK. And
Because
if you didn't,
voter apathy only fucking supports the status quo, which is right now literally forcing more child poverty on children. So fucking angry and sick of this shit.
and if the Tories get in again, my god, am I going to be angry in the next podcast? Because I'm probably going to spend the next 2 months just furious.
So basically, if you want us to shut up about politics, vote Labour.
Basically,
Yeah.
But that aside,
Anyway,
so what I've been doing is getting. I've not really done much media. I've most of it just been getting through the stuff that I was talking about the other time. So still chipping through, trying to get back to the beating.
you dick.
No, the Binding of Isaac.
Okay.
For the
It's going to be
how
difficult
time?
if you. Yeah, it's going to be difficult, like beating Binding of Isaac if you smack it on your dick all the time.
It would be, yes. It's quite a hard
Are you
game.
going for like a challenge run?
It is a very hard game to masturbate to, I will say.
That gives me the bad feelings.
Yeah, then you shouldn't have started talking about it, then should you? Yeah.
How was I supposed to know there would be consequences for my actions?
Can I maybe get to my point?
I don't like it when it's done to you.
However, yes, I've been getting through it, and the reason, I've technically beaten it many, many, many times, but the way the Binding of Isaac works is that you get through and you beat a certain boss, and then you get through and you're just laughing at the fact that I'm using the term beat.
This is I've beaten it several times. I'm like, you have to be more specific. I'm basically a child.
I have beaten the video game several times.
Thank you. How hard was that?
But by the nature of the game...
Do continue.
Are you done? Yeah, okay. So, I have won the game several times, but by the nature of the game, you have to defeat each boss several times to unlock the next layer of the game, and then it keeps going until you get to the actual final things of the game. And I guess the final thing for me to beat would actually be Mega Satan.
So you say Mega Satan is the climax of the video game?
No, I would not.
Oh.
And I'm just trying to do that again, so it's obviously taken quite a while, because some things you have to beat the bosses like 10 fucking times to get through to the next
has it
thing.
updated then recently?
No.
Or you just having a bit of
Yeah, I just wanted to get through it again.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't spending so many time finding synonyms for the word beat, I would have got through that in like a minute.
That's not what I'm here for, and you know it.
I've also been carrying on with Bob's Burgers, and I mentioned last time it's got some humour that made me kind of go a bit about. But I could kind of see the potential for it, and having watched quite a bit more of it, 'cause I think I'm on like season 4 or something, I do get it. It's still not perfect. But the humour that made me, be a bit about it is actually like 99% gone. And I'm actually just enjoying it.
That's
There's been
good.
quite a few nice episodes.
Yeah, no, cool.
So yeah, it's a fun enough little series. Nothing spectacular, but I've been like doing it whilst I've been like painting or assembling stuff, like having it on in the background, and it's been quite good for that. But yeah, I've also been watching through... I don't think I've mentioned this on the podcast before, but I've been carrying on listening to a podcast called Behind the Bastards, which is... Or Behind the Bastards, depending on
That's how I say it.
which regional variation you wish to have.
Behind Bastards.
Which is a podcast about the worst people in history. So it's basically going into...
Neil Breen, Tommy Wiseau, Elon
No.
Musk...
No, we're talking about dictators, and...
I mean, Elon Musk is a bit of a penis tuber.
Okay. But no, it's talking about things, so, it goes into, like, how Saddam Hussein had a...
he wrote trashy romance novels.
He wrote trashy romance novels, yeah.
And it was the best-selling book because everyone was scared that if he showed up to their homes and they didn't have it...
Yeah, or a really interesting one I recently listened to, which is how one of Adolf Hitler's inspirations was a young adult, like, series of books written by a grifter who wrote books pretending that he was in the Wild West. And he basically said, I am the person who the books are based on. He has never left Germany.
Oh.
He would, like, dress up like a cowboy for, like...
So he was basically,
interviews and
like, a
things.
weird, like, cosplayer who'd just gone full method.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's surreal. And gets into, like, all sorts of, terrifying...
Just
like
imagining someone
dictators, like, backstories and things.
No, I'm not done with like German cowboy who was in the Wild West.
Yeah.
It's like just imagine like this town is not big enough for the both of us. Yeehaw.
Yeah, basically.
You're like,
Yeah.
obviously for Texan born and bred.
But yeah, it's a very interesting podcast. I can recommend it. But apart from that, the big thing was that on Saturday, the 7th of December, Snipe and I went to Purge the Pit at Warhammer World.
Yep, there was a big pit that needed purging, and
Yeah.
Wib did it, and I didn't.
Yes. What it was... So on Twitter, there's a thing called warmongers, which is sort of the collective kind of term for the war gamers and painters and, mostly Warhammer people, but, other things as well on Twitter. Like, it's the collective hashtag. So if, you want people to pay attention to a painting you've done, hashtag warmongers, and you get some eyes on it. and sort of arranged around that. A bunch of people, arranged a tournament, and
There was a space, so you joined up.
yeah, there was a space, so I joined up. And it was an interesting little thing, because I've only entered one other tournament before, which was also at Warhammer World, and that was a terrible time that I
was
had
very
previously.
bad. The point where I turned around at one point and your opponent was just sat under his table.
It was... I only fought 2 people in that tournament, one of which was a kid, and so they were a little strange. But
And one of them had a car park army.
and the other one brought in 5th Ed 3 Lehman Russes to a 700-point game and just parked them at the other end of the table. And since I was playing Orcs, I couldn't fucking deal with that, because in 5th Ed Orcs couldn't deal with 14 armor, which is what Lehman Russes had at the time. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was basically the hardest army you could take in that thing, and they just did that, even though they said it was a casual game. Like, okay, thanks for that.
Yeah, it was douchey.
This was a lot better though. Thoroughly enjoyed it. So went there, met like a ton of people who I've only really interacted with on Twitter.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
That's nice.
well, I say only. We've been on Warp Time Radio, and Stormgrad Games was there.
Yeah. He is a good egg.
And he was a good egg. Also met Kirioth, who you might know from the YouTube, and tons of people who are just like Twitter people. It was actually really surreal of like slowly over the course of like the build up to it and afterwards, like slowly putting names to faces.
Yeah.
Like, so because there's some people who I met there and I didn't realize who they were, and then later on I'd see them post something about Purge the Pit and go and suddenly put names to faces and go, oh, you're that person. Okay, cool. So that was quite fun. So the way the tournament worked was very interesting, because it wasn't really like it was more of a mini campaign type idea, really.
Yeah, it was driven by a narrative.
So the basic idea is that there's like an artifact in the center of the table that it's been drawing people from all around in, and it's made up of small little armies. So you know how 40k works at like 1v1, but when you try and do like a 3-way where it's 3 people all fighting each other, the game starts to break down a
We're
little bit.
always having like 3 ways with drama, Matt, so I understand.
But that's a 2v1, so
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
yes.
And I win.
I mean, it usually ends up being 2-on-1, to be honest.
Yep.
yeah. Anyway,
Drama Matt just took it so fucking far. I love it.
but what they did was to do that kind of all versus all idea, but with at least like 5 people per table. So it ends up kind of balancing out a little bit, because it's kind of a bit more difficult to end up with that sort of situation, because everyone was desperately going for this center point, because you had to go up and capture it, and no one fully died. Like if your individual things died, you'd roll a dice at the start of your turn, and on a 5+, they'd reappear. So
Okay. How many points were you each?
400.
Okay. Oh, that's quite manageable.
And you didn't have to obey the full kind of equipment load rules. If they have the rules to take something, but they can only take 1, you can take like as many as is reasonable. So, there's a bit of you being sensible about it, but it means that, say, like, for example, I took a Wraith Lord because I took my my Eldar army, and I gave them 4 heavy weapons, and normally they can only take 2 because they've got 4 weapon points on the Wraith Lord. So, I took 2 Bright Lancers and 2 Shuriken Cannons,
Okay.
and they were like, yeah, that's fine. So you could do weird things like that. So you can, Kirioth had a Redemptor Dreadnought with 2 heavy onslaught Gatling cannons. So it had like 24 fucking shots from those. And that's not counting the other weapons it had. So it was a thing. But yeah, only 400 points. On my army consisted of that Wraith Lord, 5 Wraith Guard, and a Spirit Seer. I took those because I thought it would be... I saw a lot of people saying what they were taking that were going to be Space Marines, because my original idea was to take my Rogue Trader Space Marines and try and make an army complete out of those. But then when I saw what people were putting, it was like, yeah, there's a lot of Space Marines. I should probably, not take all those. I should probably take something that's a different faction. But yeah, we all got put onto a table with a group of other people. And yeah, we all had to go for this center point. On my table, there was me, our friend Unity, who we've mentioned a couple of times before, who took his Harlequins.
That we all hate.
That are horrible, but fortunately nothing that I took was technically a vehicle, so he stayed away from me because he didn't really know how to deal with me, because Harlequins are very good at killing vehicles, and not quite so good at killing what I had.
Or does your big boys not count as a vehicle?
No, Wraith Lords don't count as vehicles. Okay. They're a monster, technically.
Nice.
Stormgrad was there with his 4 Space Marines.
He took, like...
3 captains and a librarian.
Yeah, I mean, like, to be fair, he, like, rocked up with, like, 5,000 points of Space Marines.
Well, he didn't know he was going to be playing. He thought he was just going to play with anyone else that was there.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh, we need someone. He was like, well, okay.
Yeah,
I'm here now.
Because there were some no-shows. His mate Simon was there as well, and a lovely kid called Ben.
Yeah, he was lovely.
Who was a fan of the channel. So, hello, Ben, if you happen to be listening.
Yeah. His dreadnought did him proud.
And... yeah, so we went it. So everyone kind of starts rushing to the center. Unity, because he has like fucking all jet bikes and Vipers, just stormed into the center straight away, and the point got activated like really early on. And what happened when the point was activated is it meant that points were given to who actually did it. I think it might have been Stormgrad that actually activated it at the end, because he ran into the center as well. But then a knight appears.
Like a Chaos Knight.
Yeah, it was a Chaos Knight. It was Dr. Daves, who was one of the organisers of the tournament. So it was him and Pandora's Bits Box, if you know these people off Twitter. And it was
if you don't, you should.
It was Dr. Dave's Legion of the Damned themed knight, which is a beautiful fucking model.
Oh, absolutely.
And that appeared in the centre. And then we had to kill it. With our 400 points of things, which is, a whole thing. It was actually a weird fight, because what actually happened was Simon and Ben had a fight in the corner and were basically grinding out points, like victory points. So Simon actually won the game despite never going near the knight.
Hacks.
And I had a bit of a weird game, because so my initial thing was I killed a couple of Simon's Marines, because he had, both Simon and Ben took Marines as well. So, three of the people had Marines and 2 had different types of Eldar. So I killed some of his Marines. I took some pot shots. I think I took some pot shots at Unity's stuff and didn't really do much. Then the knight appeared, and I used my psychic phase to
Smite.
And the nearest thing were the rest of Simon's intercessor squad that I'd already shot a bit. And it had 3 Marines left in it. And I managed to get, I got 12 initially on my psychic, my psychic thing, which is
Perils of the
Perils of the Warp. So I re-rolled one of them, because I've got the thing that allows you to re-roll 1 dice per turn with your Warlord. And I got a 5, so I was over 10, so I do D6 mortal wounds. I rolled a 6, so I just killed the rest of that intercessor squad in the psychic phase.
Nice.
Straight up. And then I'm like, that's great, that means I think I had 4 Wraithguard left. And my double Bright Lance Wraith Lord, I could potentially kill this knight, because it had already had a few wounds taken off it. I think it had 14 wounds left. I was like, I could potentially kill it. I missed every shot.
Dude.
Every single one. Oh no, I tell a lie. One of the Bright Lance shots did hit. It just didn't wound. So it's like, fuck, okay, well, I'm fucked, and then...
You were playing a really good distraction, I guess.
And then, yeah... The next time I couldn't really do anything. It was, the next turn I could have shot at it. Stormgrad had got it into close combat with all of his things. Because he was just really lucky, and his stuff got murdered several times, but he was just rolling 5s and 6s every time to make them respawn. Ooh. So they just kept running back onto the board and back into the fight, like an endless cycle of it. And
zero respawn timer.
Yeah, and so he ended up in combat with the knight, so I couldn't shoot at it. So I was like, okay. So I killed a couple of Unity's jet bikes.
Just something to
they
do.
happened to just be in range, and the real fight was off in the corner somewhere. And then, in the end, I didn't really do much. But by the end of the fight, every single one of my units was on the table, and the only thing that got killed at any point was one of my Wraith Guards. So I'm like, that's better than I thought I'd do. And yeah, Stormgrad eventually killed the thing, but I think Simon actually won the game because he'd been grinding out points. Even though he hadn't been near the centre. So it was like, okay.
It's a metaphor for life, really.
But yeah, so we were, and because all the things on
the
our...
centre ground is a giant con. Is that
basically,
what you're...
it turns out, yeah. What you need to do is have lots of Marines and just be fighting in the corner, killing each other, and eventually just, getting all your points that way.
Yeah.
In the end, we finished...
Pro strats here.
Yeah, we finished before any of the other games because what it was basically, I think it was 4 games that were running the same thing, like 4 tables next to each other.
Oh, nice.
All with like the the same amount as like I think it was 4 or 5 people on each table.
Did the organisers rock up with 4 Chaos Knights then?
Okay, no. What actually happened was
way funnier.
2 people who were supposed to bring knights didn't.
Okay.
So one of them was a great unclean one. One of them was the knight that Dr. Dave brought, and one of them was one of the knights that I think 2 of them were knights that Stormgrad just happened to bring with him.
If they were blue and white, then yeah, they were his.
Like he just happened to have his with him, so they got stolen for it.
Yeah, I do joke about like the blue and white, but like that. His paint jobs are fucking nice.
And that's his thing, is having blue and white paint jobs.
Very good.
But yeah, so in the end, I didn't do super great, but our friend Unity did win Best Painted.
And he got like this
nice.
badass like metal like skull with a metal paintbrush in its mouth.
Yeah, that was like handmade for it as a trophy.
It was amazing.
Oh,
It was really,
cool.
yes.
And Ben won the award for sportsmanship and got like a load of books.
Yeah, he
He
kind
got a
of,
lot blown up.
He got a lot blown up, but he always had a grin on his face.
Yeah.
So he won best sportsmanship.
He was credit to team.
And yeah, so we just hung out for a little while afterwards. I treated myself to some sniper scouts because
I bullied you into it.
Yeah. Which even with those, I still have painted more than I have bought. so that's all good.
Meanwhile, I had a really cool and really brutal game with Pyro, and she brought lots of scary orcs, and I took my dreadnoughts and my knights, and we had a 1,500 point army, and the dice were not on her side.
Oh no.
Oh.
No, I ran my my knight in immediately, and I just rolled really well, and the dice, like her dice, did not like her, and it was brutal, but it was really fun playing with her because she like knows every rule to everything. Like I'm just like, oh, what's this? And she's like, it's toughness 4. I'm like, thank you, you know everything, and I'm so grateful. But yeah, that was fun, just hanging out with people as well.
That did seem, because I was only watching it for one turn.
I got rubbed butts with so much at that table because there was another tournament going on.
Oh yeah,
And there was an apocalypse match going on behind me with like 6 different people, and like the table that we were on was quite a narrow thing, and I have quite a lot of junk in my trunk. So, like, people walk past going, excuse me, and then rubbing their butts on mine, like, by accident. And I'm like, this is so weird. So I rubbed butts with a lot of people that day. And if I didn't rub your butt at Warhammer World, you're welcome? I don't know how to... But I had a thing, and now it's gone.
But I was going to say, because I only watched one turn of your game, and I watched you in a single round of shooting, in a single round, blow up a battle wagon...
Mm-hmm. And it exploded.
And it exploded, hurting a bunch of stuff inside, and then shooting at killer cans. Mm-hmm. I think you killed like 5 of them in shooting, and then you charged them with Murderfang and killed the last 2.
Yep.
It was
down to like
rough.
Yeah, it was down to like the last boy.
What I will also say is, at the same day as we were doing that, there was a tournament there, and it completely blew my mind, because I have long held the opinion, this belief, that the Lord of the Rings game that Games Workshop makes, there is only, in any area, one person who plays it.
Well, I mean, play TM.
Well, collects the
you
miniatures
go.
and will never ever meet another person that plays the game, and they just get progressively more and more bitter and angry that they have no one to play with.
Yeah, I assumed that was the truth.
That's been my experience of people that play it up until this point. But the hall was full of Lord of the Rings players because it was a Lord of the Rings tournament.
Ah.
I have speculated on Twitter that these people may be actors. I am becoming a Lord of the Rings truther, it appears.
Yeah, they saw that there was like another tournament and they were like, shit, we need to fill up this hall with actors.
Yeah, because
so there was a massive casting call.
Yeah, I don't know how to play the game. They could have been rolling dice and moving the models around randomly, and I wouldn't know.
I wasn't watching because I really hate Lord of the Rings. And I hate Lord of the Rings, the tabletop game, more.
Yeah, that was the bad experience you had. Your introduction to wargames was
That's
with
why
Lord of the Rings game.
That's why I avoided wargaming for as long as I did.
Yeah.
Because I had such a horrible experience.
You played with a group full of that guys.
I did. Like, the whole fucking group was that guy.
Yeah.
And I was just like... Because it was like... If I didn't know the rules, it was because I was just not respecting the law.
Oh yeah, because like the rules of
law.
tabletop war games you can pick up in a single
Do
session.
you remember that part where Frodo tried to throw the ring into Mount Doom, but his movement speed wouldn't allow it, so he had to stand still for 6 fucking seconds? Yeah, that was my favourite part of the fucking movie.
It was amazing.
Yeah, also I played with a guy who thought he was Aragorn, but he was more like dog jizz.
I thought that was going to be a cleverer joke, but you know what?
Hey, look, if it makes you laugh, it's clever.
I'm not sure that's how it works.
I've based my whole career on that fucking... Don't take this away from me. But yeah, like this
if
is the
Matt
guy...
farted right now, I would laugh. I would be ashamed of myself, but I would laugh. But that would not make it clever.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Matt has like a PhD, so that would be a very clever fart.
I mean, I don't, but also I have been farting on podcast, and I was wondering if you could hear it.
Oh, you thought you were busted for a second there, did you?
Yeah, I was like, oh shit. Well,
like, dude. Well, but hopefully not. Mm-hmm. That we probably would have heard.
Well, if it helps, you have now discovered that Drummer Matt has very stealthy farts.
Either that or he just keeps muting his microphone. And then, we'll get to, the actual, his audio, and it's just going to be...
Yeah.
While we're talking. I haven't done a good hand fart in a while.
Yeah.
Remember how, as a kid, I was convinced that, acid rain was going to be a daily occurrence in my life, same with quicksand, and that hand farts, they had to be performed at least 4 times a day. And I don't know what societal or, conversation, like a social need for hand farts but that was just something that I found lots of just kids do a lot. They kind of put an hour aside a day to just do hand farts or armpit farts if you can do that. Just thought that was interesting. You don't remember that at school?
At school, there are a lot of things that take up your time that you realise as you grow older that don't take up as much time. It's a bit like when you're forced to confront the idea of when's the last time you jumped.
I literally jumped 4 days ago because I remembered someone asking me that question. I was like, next time someone asks, I'm gonna and I jumped. I actually did jump.
I don't remember the last time I jumped.
Yeah, that's because you're weak.
Well, when did you last jump, Matt? Do you know?
I probably jumped about, what time is it? About an hour and a half ago?
The thing is, if you exercise, you end up jumping a lot more.
Yeah, you jump by accident. I was jumping over a puddle, though, not into a puddle, so it's less cool.
You shouldn't jump into a puddle unless you know it's really, really deep, otherwise you could hurt yourself.
Wait.
And fall on your bum.
I thought you were going to have the opposite advice. Don't jump into deep puddles because you, drown.
Well, I mean, if you just decide to not swim, maybe. But, if you just kind of, you got to make sure they're deep, so, if you jump into them, then you won't hurt your spine or anything. Basic puddle safety, everybody.
Okay, I feel we're kind of losing the thread a bit.
Well, we were talking about, Drama stealth farts and stuff, and the reckless silliness of youth. Maybe some Warhammer, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I would like to, say, thank you to the people that came up and said hello to us during the whole Purge the Pit thing.
And thank you, everybody, for hanging out with me. And just, like, kind of hanging out with me while you were busy, like, Sin and Idola and Destroy and Pyro, just kind of, like, chilling with me. It was nice. It was really lovely hanging out with everybody.
Yeah.
While I drank the slushiest slush puppy. They still do slush puppies at Bugman's Bar, and I am freaking addicted to them.
At this point, I think it's the only reason you go there.
That's one of the only reasons I go there. The other one is to bug Wib to buy me expensive shit.
For me to say you can have more dreadnoughts when you finish painting the ones
And then
you've got.
I just start having a tantrum.
I mean, yeah.
Throwing my bag
I
down.
have witnessed this.
Yet, curiously, I notice not painting your dreadnought. The one thing you could do that would help.
Yeah, but you told me to do it, now I can't. No, that's why I've nearly finished my Tyranid Spearhead detachment, because fuck you, I'm not painting my dreadnoughts.
Well,
Yeah, Snipe
this
has a
sounds
good
like a
point.
you problem.
This is not.
This is very much a
This
you
is
problem.
just how my psychology works.
Anyway, I'm going to stop us getting sidetracked, and I'm going to talk about the last thing that I have to talk about.
Fine.
Which is... So, over the course of, 2 days, I have gone... Snipe and I have gone from being in one D&D campaign...
To being in 3!
To having to make 2 more D&D characters. Well, I've got to make 2 more anyway. So...
I'm DMing the other one.
Yeah, so I'm going to be in a little mini campaign, which Snipe's DMing with Longfang. Mm-hmm. So I have to make a character for that from level 1. And also we're being in a one-shot.
Yeah.
Now, I can't talk about the one-shot because everything's supposed to be a secret about it.
Yeah.
However, I did find out that in the new book, what's it called, Eberron?
Eberron, the something or other. I need to get, Yeah,
there's rules to make goblins, so,
Dressed as goblins.
So, of course, I'm making a goblin.
Yeah.
Because...
You are at least part goblin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty goblin core.
And I want to say what the name of the goblin is because Snipe came up with it and it's perfect, but I also don't want to make it so that anyone else who is going to be in the campaign hears it. Well, the one shot hears it.
Just say it so I can hear it, and then they can hear my reaction, and you can bleep out the actual name.
Yeah, okay, but you've got to do it in your character's voice. Okay, you ready to run, Matt?
Yeah. Yeah, okay, fine.
It's good, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I'm pretty proud of myself for helping.
Are you going to do the voice the whole way through?
Yes.
Yeah.
He has to.
It's a one shot, I can do it.
Okay, yeah.
And everyone will learn why that was funny later on. But yeah, so I'm making that. I won't say about classes or anything, although I have taken one of the extra things that was added in what's it called? The
Xanathar's
Xanathar's
Guide to Everything?
Yeah, I'm using one of the extra specializations in that, so that's going to be fun. The other one, which I will talk about because it's not a secret or anything, is because I've never run a caster, like a dedicated caster, I will be running a warlock in the one that's just with Longfang and you.
Yeah, in small campaign, let's call it.
In small campaign.
There's one shot, which we can't talk about, and then
Yeah.
small campaign, which is going to probably be an ongoing campaign.
Yeah, and so I made a warlock because I wanted to run something I hadn't run before, and I ended up making them a tiefling. And even though my current main character is a tiefling, the reason why I did this is because I didn't want to play a half-elf.
Yeah, because you hate half-elves and, cries in Hela.
But I wanted something that I could get a +2 in a stat from, of something that and would be useful for something I haven't played before, because I rolled an 18 on my stats.
Yeah, he literally rolled 3 6s and a 5.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
So I had to get a 20 on something, because why would you not if you have the opportunity?
So yeah, it was basically a choice between a tiefling or a half-elf, because they both get a racial bonus of +2 to charisma.
Yeah.
Other ones, like Tabaxi and other things, get only a +1. So it was like, well, you didn't want to play half-elf, so you decided to go with a lady tiefling.
Yes, I'm going with a lady tiefling.
Yeah, who has +5...
Leafling.
to +5 to her charisma skill at level fucking 1.
Yep.
Well, that's ludicrous.
That's hella levels of broken.
Yeah. So yeah, she's going to be fun, and inadvertently, I ended up like coming. So I realized that like when you give your characters equipment, you know how there's like you can pick this and this, and you get lots of choices, and it's like okay, so she gets like a simple weapon, and I went with a quarterstaff because that seems fitting for a
I mean a full-size staff would just be too long.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be ridiculous, quite frankly.
Having a staff just makes sense. And she gets 2 daggers by default, because that's just a thing lots of characters get.
I mean, Nathan, my warlock, he has a big dagger.
So then it was like, you get another weapon as well. And it's like, well, I don't want to give it... It's like, because normally you'll get a crossbow or another weapon. And normally you take a crossbow, but it's like, the Eldritch Blast exists. Why the fuck would I take a crossbow? Like
1d10.
It's a fucking cantrip, like,
Yeah, that's good.
And so it was like, well, what do I take? And I looked through all the weapons, and like none of them really fit. So it was like, I guess I'll take another dagger. And then it's like, I think this character should collect daggers.
Well, I mean, you were like, okay, I can also like get like another dagger.
And then I was like, how many daggers can a character carry?
I think my old rogue had, I think, the average amount was about 12 or 13. And then if I got down to single figures, I'd get more.
I just remember Talus, how she'd throw her daggers and then like immediately look around to try and pick them up because they were expensive. Just like, I can't be. Oh, come on.
But yes, I'm making. This is going to be an interesting character to play. So I've not played Warlock, or indeed any dedicated caster before.
They're fucking great,
and
they're not going to be the main like damage. They're a good all rounder.
And
they like their strength is in the fact that they basically get their big spells back at a short rest.
Yeah, and since Longfang is playing a barbarian, I wanted to play something caster to like balance it out a little bit. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting thing. Of course, I'm also my patron's a Great Old One, because if I see option of Great Old One in any list, I'm always going to pick it.
Yep. But you haven't gone for Cthulhu.
I haven't gone for Cthulhu
because it was a bit on the nose.
Yeah, it was too on the nose to go for Cthulhu.
Yeah.
I'm the the one who thirsts or something like that.
No, that's who I am.
No,
I'm the one who thirsts.
Oh, what is it? It is the one who does something.
Yeah, I think it is the one who thirsts, which is just like that's a subsection of the Great Old One, isn't it? Because I think you can pick between 1 or 2 days.
There's a bunch of them. I mean, you
there's
can just
a
make
few.
it all,
Yeah, there's a few.
So I've gone with that, and yeah. So it's going to be interesting, having like a +7 on a ton of stuff because of the combination of proficiency and high charisma.
Smart.
So it's like I should totally take high intimidation with this.
Well, I mean, you've already got proficiency in intimidation there, so it's like +7 to intimidation. But the thing is, you're not going to be like shouting and screaming or anything because your character's quite like restrained. So she's going to be like basically doing the school mom kind of like stern talking to someone, and they're going to be like, I'm shitting me britches with that +7. Yes, you may have my sword. I don't know. You may have my dagger. Like, that's a very nice dagger.
I think that's what she might spend most of her time doing, is just demanding daggers off people.
You need to get a bag of holding so you can just put all of your daggers in there.
Come on, someone did actually work it out for me of how many daggers.
Was it like 370 something?
It was like, because your ability to carry is like, what is it, like 50?
It's your strength.
It's your strength, like times 15, I believe, and that's how many pounds you can carry. And since a dagger's like a pound, that means I can carry something like 150 daggers or something. It's going to be like that part in The Matrix when Neo opens his coat and there's just loads of guns, but it's just going to be the same dagger pasted over and over again. I'm not going to carry 150 daggers because that is absurd.
If I let you, would you?
No, I'd be sensible about it.
I wouldn't go over 100, come on.
I would probably make it so that my character would never carry more than 10 daggers.
Oh!
Are you shaming people who carry more than 10 daggers now?
No, but I'm saying that's
He's
fine.
being very picky, isn't he?
If you're a rogue, then that makes a lot of sense.
Okay,
but if you want, I am basically never going to use them in combat because I'm a warlock.
Collector's items. Yeah, okay, fine.
It just seems like a fun idea.
That reminds me, Matt, I need to, when we get back to your campaign, I want to multi-class Nathan.
Okay.
So he can carry a sword because it fits with his background better.
Alright, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I mean...
spoilers, everybody.
But anyway, yeah, that's what I've done, and as I say, I can't wait to unveil the character that I have made for the one shot.
Oh my god! Well, I mean,
Because you don't even know the other parts of it, because I know what they are. I know their shtick, and I just want to say because it makes me laugh.
I mean, he's not like Samuel, which I noticed he's afraid of ducks. Swans. He's afraid of swans.
Samuel is afraid of swans.
I think that's really funny.
Yeah.
I wonder if I could summon a dire swan.
Well,
as a steed.
I mean, that's DM's discretion, and therefore means that, yes, Ash will definitely let you do that.
He will definitely let me do that.
Yeah. But anyway...
this is Marigold 2.
This is not Marigold.
But anyway, I've spent far too much time talking, so I shall pass over to Matt to talk about what he has been up to.
Matt, what have you been up to?
I have started watching, after your vague recommendation, or at least reminding me that it existed, the second series of Final Space.
Oh, yes.
I've watched 2 episodes so far, and I can definitely agree with you that it's good that the main character is less annoying. And it was quite funny when they sort of acknowledged that everyone thought he was annoying and then he's less annoying. Yeah. Like, that's quite satisfying. But honestly, after the 2 episodes, I just kind of found it boring.
Huh.
I don't know why. I just watched them. I was like, well, kind of nothing's happening. And it's kind of the same as the first series, but without any plot. I don't know. Yeah.
I would say, because the main plot it takes a couple of episodes to get into what's actually happening.
Yeah, but I was just like...
But no, I actually get you. I actually get you on that front, because there was like the first series had that whole framing device.
Yeah, exactly,
Of him being lost in, adrift in space, and that kind of helps contextualize everything that's going on. So I do actually get you there.
Yeah, because the first season, I watched the first few episodes, and I was like, this is a bit annoying. But I was like, well, I want to know what happens with this whole overarching thing. So I ended up watching it, and then by the end, I did really like it. But because I had the thing to push through the first bits. But this, I'm kind of having the similar thing for different reasons. Yeah, but I just don't have the same thing to actually push through it, so I'm not sure I'm even going to bother. I might do.
I will say it does get better, and there is a thing going on. Although I will agree, there is the main story is stronger in the first one, because it's a more very definite. This is happening, and this is what you're trying to do.
Yeah, and I don't know why I'm like. Usually, I wouldn't mind so much if it's like good characters and I'm enjoying watching it, which they are, and I am. But I don't know what's different about this. But yeah, I'm just sort of like, well, can't really be bothered now. Yeah.
Speaking of not being bothered, did you think I wouldn't see you tweet about me waffling? You fucking shit. Also, you look really handsome in that picture.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, but also fuck you!
In my defence, you were waffling.
In my defence, I was just drifting off to sleep, huggling up to my huge reindeer squishmallow, and Wib came in and went, "We're recording in like an hour," and I was like, "No!" So this is Drummer Matt's fault.
Yeah.
This is obviously not my problem. And when I literally texted him before you came in, and he was like, "Oh, can we move to 6:30?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's fine." But I, for some reason, thought it was tomorrow.
Yeah, okay, but it said that. Yeah, there's the podcast. You went, "Yeah, that's tomorrow." It's like it's Tuesday.
You were like, "It's in an hour." And I'm like, "No."
And in fairness,
no.
Without the waffling, we've got so little to talk about. This podcast would only be like 45 minutes long.
I am the backbone of this fucking podcast.
It is like 80% waffle at this point. But Matt, carry on.
Okay, the game I've been playing this week is called Night of the Full Moon.
I'm listening.
Yeah, I think it might be like a terrible mobile game, but I've got the laptop version. But,
okay.
It doesn't have like a load. It's not a terrible mobile game in the sense of it's like needs, you play it for half an hour and then you have to wait or pay. It's like an actual full game, which is, good by the standards of terrible mobile games. It's a sort of card-based deck buildery type thing, but it's set. You're like Red Riding Hood, and you're trying to find your gran or something, and you're going through spooky villages. and like you end up with like in one like place, and there's like 30 odd situations that can happen, and they're either like chests to get more items, or they're baddies to fight, or they're various things, and it sort of happens a bit randomly. And you sort of, as you progress through these things, after you like defeat a baddie or open the chest or do the thing, that card's replaced by another one, and you sort of progress through and fight more and get more cards to add to your deck. So then the next fight you sort of slowly power up, and it's sort of I think you go through it until you die, and then you sort of do it again and see if you can get further in the story. Sort of thing.
A roguelike then.
Yeah, sort of a deck building roguelike type thing.
I like the art style. The art style kind of looks like cute Darkest Dungeon.
I thought it reminded me a lot of Don't Starve, the art style.
Yeah, I get that too, because I'm looking at
one. Not exactly, but
yeah, I'm looking at one of the promotional things where it's like the Red Riding Hood like down near the bottom, and she's got a sword out, and there's a werewolf howling at the moon behind her, and it looks very Darkest Dungeon with the very thick black lines. But yeah, like no, and then it's like whereas in game it's a bit more cartoony.
Yeah, in game it's less like that.
Yeah.
But it was 49p, and I played it a little bit last night, and I was just like, oh, I'll just play this for a bit, and then I ended up playing it for like 4 hours or something. I was like, oh, all right, yeah.
Oh.
I always think that is a good testament to any game, is when you start playing it and you only intend to just have a quick go, and then 4 hours go past that.
Yeah. It's
that's either the sign of something very good or something that is tailor-made to be insidiously addictive.
Yeah, I feel like it's not quite like that. But I'm not saying by any means it's the only one like this, because I'm sure it's not. But I quite like that, because I've played deck building board games or like physical card games, and you sort of, the whole point of those is that as you play, you've got a bit of a deck that you get from, and you sort of get money or units of whatever the currency is, and you sort of add to your deck in each game. But this, you sort of have your fight with whatever deck you've got, and then in between fights you kind of add to your deck, and as the story progresses you develop your deck, not like in the actual main gameplay loop. So it's sort of an interesting twist on it that I hadn't really seen before. And I'm sure it's not at all novel, but for me it was. So I've been quite enjoying it. Yeah, it's like surprisingly like fully voice acted.
Oh,
as well.
okay.
Like there's like, I don't know how many like enemies there are in it, but I fought like 10 or 15 or something different enemies, and they're all like say things all the time. They're all like different, and I'm like, oh, someone's actually put like a half decent amount of time into this. I was kind of expecting it to be like a little bit trash, but it's like surprisingly well made. I had to after I got my my one issue with it is that because I got it on my laptop, it was like, and I can only run it because my laptop isn't a gaming laptop. I can run it at like 720 resolution or something.
Okay.
Which, because of like the weird laptop screen, it like shows up like tiny, like a quarter of the size of my like 13-inch screen, and I had to like bodge around it. And then if you made it full screen, the game goes, okay, full screen, that means full resolution. So it automatically it didn't like full screen the resolution I'd set. It just set it to the resolution of the screen, which is like 1800 by something ludicrous. So I was just like, oh, this is an issue. It won't run full screen, but I can't see it at low resolution. So I had to like bodge around it. I found a way around it and it's fine, but I was just like, oh, this is annoying.
I just want to say, and I know that we all have moments of doing this, I think that is the most I have ever heard you say the word like.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I didn't even notice.
That was like every 5 seconds.
Sorry to future me, because it annoys me every time I listen to a podcast, and I've said it a lot.
You don't normally do it a lot, which is why I noticed.
No, like linguistically pausing, or saying like, or things like that is actually indicative of being very thoughtful about what you're saying, because that's you verbally pausing to think of what to say.
Oh yeah, I know.
So while it's associated with stupid people,
on the flip side to that, it is annoying as fuck, and I'm apologising to future me and everyone else. Mostly future me. I will be very annoyed by this.
Well, I'm gonna laugh at future you, haha.
But anyway, it's quite a fun little game, and I got it for 49p. So if you like,
can't complain.
I can't even say if you like that sort of game, because now I'm just like, oh no, I can't say that word.
If you enjoy that
if you enjoy that sort of game,
if you enjoy that game.
If you like and enjoy that.
All right, move on. I'm done. I'm not going to talk anymore.
Oh, sorry.
That's going to make the podcast a bit shit.
Snipe.
Yes!
Have you done anything? Vaguely relevant.
No. Honestly, I've been working hard on commissions and I've been painting a lot of Warhams. I've entered a painting competition, actually.
Ooh, cool.
It was an AOS competition.
Right.
Because, like,
for all the Age of Sigmar models you have.
Yeah, all those. Well, I bought one.
Yeah, okay.
I bought a.
Was it just an excuse to buy another model? Is there an Age of Sigmar equivalent to a Dreadnought?
Yes. It's the Gothazar Harvester, and I desperately want it, but I can't justify it. Yeah, dude, seriously, Google Gothazar Harvester.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
And then you'll see exactly why I like it immediately.
Oh no, I got it. Oh yeah, it's just a Dreadnought. It is the best Dreadnought.
I know, it's so good.
And it's actually surprisingly reasonably priced.
Yeah, it's like 30 quid.
Well,
but,
it could definitely be more.
I mean,
Yeah, you have shown me this model before. It's very beautiful. I just didn't know that's what it was called.
Yeah. So I love that, and I really want it, but I can't really justify it because I'm not going to start an AOS army. But with these painting competitions at the local GW, you've got to buy a model there because they got to get you.
It does make sense as well because it means that they can control when you get the thing, so you can't just enter that you've been painting for the last year.
I'm not saying it's unreasonable, but yeah. So I was looking around because
it's also a comp, but you know,
whatever. I was looking around the AOS section. It's just like next to nothing, and I'm like, and I was like talking to Longfang on like WhatsApp the whole time, going, and then he was showing me all these models that were really cool, and I'm like, where are you getting this shit from? And he's like, oh yeah, most of it's on the website. So I just ordered one into the store because that still counts as a purchase from the store. And like, yeah, I got a Harbinger of Decay, which is this really cool dude just on a skeletal horse pointing, and I'm just like, ooh. He nurgly and gross, and I'll finally get to just splash shit like typhus corrosion on. That's cool. I like that. So that's like the deadline for that is the 21st of December. So I'm like,
hopefully, if it's not raining and making the wind making the rain go sideways, which is basically what it's been today.
Yeah.
Then you'll actually be able to get some base coat paint on that.
Yeah.
And you can start painting.
Hopefully. But yeah, and while I've been doing that, I've been listening to the No Sleep podcast, which is a spoopy podcast that's kind of done like the old radio shows, and I just really, really dig them. They usually have the same kind of pool of voice actors, so they have the regulars, and then they occasionally have like different ones come in to like act out the stories, and the stories are basically submitted to the podcast, and they pay the people and stuff like that, and they give them credit at the beginning of the story and stuff, and it's very kind of like, on this episode, we hear the tale of the haunted cucumber, or fucking whatever, you know, and it's like, that's fun. But like, I've been just consuming so many of those, and my favourite voice actor for them is Peter Lewis, because he's the guy who sounds a bit like Stephen Waite's Caleb from Blood. And I'm just like,
it always comes back to Blood,
doesn't it just? But yeah, it's so good. And like, yeah, I've been like, some of the stories have been shit, but like, honestly, like the majority of them are pretty decent. I've decided to, like, when I'm out and about, I'll listen to them during the day. But then when I'm, like, making my way home at night on the bus, I'm not... Like, I did that when I came back from, like, boxing, like, a couple of weeks ago, and it was this story about how, oh, yeah, I like to go on walks, and this guy keeps following me, and I'm like, I can't listen to this.
No.
Not when I'm out in the middle of town at night, in the pitch dark.
Yeah.
I think I'm just gonna listen to some nice, happy music. It's fine. Not too loud, though. But yeah, so that's been, like, you know, doing pretty well, and I've been enjoying that. Also, the Resident Evil 3 remake trailer dropped today.
How does it look? Because until you wrote it as a note in the little notepad file that tells us what we're going to talk about, until I saw that, I was like, oh, I didn't know a trailer had been released, just to show
it's like-
how on the ball I am.
Well, like, Longfang messaged me just before I went to sleep, and he was like, ah, just screaming, and then I was just like, and then I responded with just screaming and watched it. And
Yeah.
It's nothing really gameplay-wise yet, but, like, it's got, like, it kind of has, because Resident Evil 2 is basically happening at roughly the same time, like, within, like, a few hours as Resident Evil 3 is happening.
Okay.
So, Resident Evil 2 is set after Resident Evil 1 with the incident involving zombies in a mansion. So, the second one is basically Chris has gone off to Europe, where he's actually just, like, going and being a super sleuth, like, big dick, amazing fridge man. And Claire comes to Raccoon City to find her brother. And meets up with Leon, and they kind of make it through, they escape with Sherry, and while that's happening, while the city is basically completely crawling with zombies, there's like 2 STARS members left in Raccoon City, which is Jill Valentine and Brad Vickers. Now, Mr. X in the second one is a tyrant. He has basically been engineered to just fuck shit up and kill people, and like they're kind of like they made Nemesis to target and kill STARS members, which is why throughout the Resident Evil 3 game, Jill is basically constantly pursued by Nemesis. And yeah, other shit happens, but yeah. So it's just kind of like, it's like at the same kind of time, and like she was like just out having at a party, which explains the costume. But I like the costume in this one because it's just kind of like a nice blue vest and like black jeans.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that's really fucking cool. I can't wait for like 0.1% of gamers to get really mad about how apparently it's political now because she's not wearing a skirt and you can't see
a
her
woman in
underwear.
trousers is political.
I mean, yeah, a woman is political, dear, but a woman in trousers, scandalous. But yeah, and like, it's
You know what's really funny? There was a time in human history when a woman in trousers was actually seriously political.
I mean,
Reality is ridiculous.
yeah, it is. But now it's just women existing is apparently political, but I digress. But yeah, and it's like Carlos, he's a tasty daddy boy. Ooh, he's got that curly hair. They've made him look a bit older.
I literally
Carlos
know this character as
he's like the other dude that you meet up with, who's like he's like Umbrella Special Forces kind of thing, to explain it badly.
I've just thought about something. Is Resi 3 the first Resi game that doesn't have like
The zapping system.
That's the system where you played like 2 different paths?
Yeah, you play through like 2 like.
Why is it called the zapping system?
I don't know why. That's just
that's
the name
why-
I've always heard.
That's why
Because you zap.
That's why I can never internalize it.
Yeah, zap is a cool word.
That's why I can never internalize it as being the name for that, because it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, it didn't have it. You do play as Carlos a couple of times.
Everything about the Resi series makes sense. That is the one thing.
Okay, that's mean and absolutely accurate. How dare you? But yeah, no, you play as like Carlos a couple of times, but as far as I'm aware, you might be able to go through with like Jill A or Jill B, but I can't remember. I honestly can't remember.
Oh.
And someone's going to call me a fake fan in the comments. Oh, wait, no, they won't, because, people who listen to this aren't dicks. But yeah, no, I'm interested. My biggest problem with Resident Evil 2 Remake was Mr. X. Because once I got to Mr. X, I couldn't play it anymore, because that made me have panic attacks. It's like that made me super freaked out, because for those of you who don't know, once you get to a certain part in Resident Evil 2 Remake, it changes slightly from the original Resident Evil 2 where Mr. X would chase you at pre-scripted defined points in the story. He'd just pop out and chase after you. Whereas in Resident Evil 2 Remake, once he became active, he was just wandering around and would randomly fucking burst out of a wall and chase you. It shot my nerves to shit, and unfortunately because of that, I've not been able to complete the fucking game I spent all that money on. Very annoying.
Yeah, I get you.
And it's too much. Like Longfang, I watched him stream it, and it was just frazzling his nerves as well. Because it is a very fucking scary game.
Yeah,
it is very atmospheric. It is so scary.
I can't get on with games where it's all about being chased. No. Not because because I if people have followed us any length of time, might know.
We don't like it. That gives us anxiety.
They might know that I am quite hard to scare with media. I went from being an absolute coward as a child to just not giving a fuck as an adult about basically any time any horror thing tries to scare me. It just barely works. However, that doesn't mean that being someone that literally suffers from anxiety means that games that prey on the feeling of anxiety tend to be things I don't want to play.
Yeah, I love Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I would love to be able to play it, but it's just Mr. X. I cannot deal with it.
Having that follow me around is one of the reasons why I would not want to play it. Why I haven't, because under normal circumstances, if it was just the thing, I'd probably play through it with you, so you can kind of experience it like that.
Yeah.
But because it's that specific thing, it would frazzle me doing it. It's that thing of it's one of the reasons why things like Five Nights at Freddy's I could not get along with.
It's not scary, it just increases your anxiety.
Because I know I'm just waiting to be made jump, and that's just anxiety riddling.
Whereas I think that's an unfair comparison, because
it's different.
It is different, because I would say that Resident Evil 2 Remake is it's incredibly atmospheric, it's incredibly scary. You have a lot of
You can just say better than Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, the thing is, Five Nights at Freddy's, it's not fair to compare it to Resident Evil 2 Remake, because it's basically a horror game for kids.
And it's made by one guy called Scott.
Yeah, so it's a bit unfair. But the concept is there.
No. Yeah, you are right.
Yeah, but no, my biggest concern about Resident Evil 3 Remake is purely that I just want there to be pre-scripted appearances of Nemesis. I don't want him chasing me the whole game, because I won't be able to fucking play it. I desperately want to play Resident Evil 3 Remake. If it's anything like Resi 2 Remake, which is a fucking work of art, sans the big problem I have with it, it's that I can't fucking play that, and that makes me really upset.
I'm going to be honest, given that Resi 3's entire shtick is about being chased by Nemesis, and that the Mr. X thing worked really well for the people that can play it in Resi 2, Resi 3 is just going to be that.
Yeah, but at the same time, this is the thing. A lot of people who liked it and could deal with it were getting really used to it. And before they kind of stopped it. So, it's the same kind of thing of, I could play an entire game of, Mr. X chasing me. If someone had a gun to my head, and then after a couple of hours of it, I just find it boring and frustrating. So if I have to spend a whole 10 to 12 hour experience being chased the whole time, fuck off.
I think the problem
that's just frustrating.
The problem once you get past past any scare of being chased all the time is that I feel those things they do break down what was a scary enemy into just an algorithm that you're trying to work out how to trick. Which is
what speedrunners do. The veneer is completely gone. But that's my major concern, and I'm really hoping that even if they do have that there will be an option to turn it off.
To it only appear in
appeal in pre-scripted places. You know what? That would make me really happy. I know there'd be some fucking fan people who'd be really annoying about it, but fuck them. I want to play that game. And so I'm going to stop talking about a game that's going to be out April 2020.
Yeah, because that's you don't know how it's going to be.
I don't know how it's going to be. I don't know what's going on. But all I know is that Jill, I love the way she's designed. She looks like an absolute fucking badass. Nikolai and that look pretty cool. Carlos is daddy. Oh, are you having a look now?
Yeah, you've said it so much, I have to...
yeah, honestly, she's great.
I just want to see what the design looks like.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, if you pre-order, you can get the original outfits, but to be fair, that was a thing from Resident Evil 2 Remake as well. Also, I like how, with the women design in Remake 2 and 3, they just like having women with layered tank tops. And I am okay with that.
And yes, I do like it. Although she does kind of look like Mila Jovovich cosplaying as Lara Croft from the new Tomb Raider games.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I just like how she actually has tone.
Yeah.
Like, cause she's a fucking, like, special police officer. She's gonna have some tone. Yeah. But yeah, look for Carlos. Your dick will pop right off.
Okay.
Trust me. Okay, Drama Matt, you too.
What am I Googling?
Carlos, Resident Evil 3 remake. Look at that daddy boy!
Okay, I get it, yeah.
Like, that's old Carlos. There he is.
Yeah.
Stupid idiot. And then, yeah.
Yeah, no, there's a that is a definite improvement, yes.
Yeah.
Carlos 33 remake. Images. Oh, no, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, he looks really young, though. I wouldn't say daddy.
Okay, but,
He
like...
looks like he's, like, barely 18.
I'm sorry, are you serious? Are you looking at the old one? Because that's, yeah. Check
I'm
Skype.
looking-
We're sending you a picture.
Alright, okay.
That's Carlos in the remake.
I'm looking at this picture. Up, alright, up. Okay, hang on, I need to move all my sound cushions.
It's important, the thirst must flow.
Alright. Yeah, he's a young boy.
No. Okay, just because you could grow a full beard at the age of 12 doesn't mean everyone else can.
He's barely 20 there.
Okay, Drama Matt is no longer a part of this
He's
podcast.
not old and grizzled enough for me.
Okay, that's fair, but the thing is, he's still like... So he looks to me there kind of like he's like 28 or something, which is...
I wouldn't say 28.
I'm being very generous.
I'd split the difference between the pair of you.
So like...
I mean, I'm not sure it really matters.
It does not, no. He's not a real person.
But tasty. Very good.
Yeah, he's alright.
Itchy tasty. But yeah, that's basically all I've been up to.
Okay. I'm just thinking of how much of a nightmare that bit of the podcast is going to be to edit. Oh,
Yep.
God.
Deal with that.
To make that coherent.
Anyway, let's get to the emails. Wibble it. What's the email?
It's onlydrummermatt@snipeandwib@gmail.com.
Yeah. Write in and tell me how you think Carlos is sexy. And how Jill is super sexy and fucking capable and boss. And how Chris is just amazingly handsome.
And how you think that the Nemesis is also sexy.
No, I mean... I'm not like... He's a bit of a butterface, really.
He's kind of a butt at everything.
He's kind of a butt everything. No, Nemesis is just a butt.
Anyway,
just a
please
big, stinky butt.
say the questions, Matthew.
Alright, so we have a bunch of questions.
Good.
First up, Kveldulf.
Could you say that again?
Kveldulf.
You sound like when I was learning Russian. Then you press on the, like, because you see a word.
Bear in mind, this is someone's name before you say something too mean about it.
No, I was saying, it's just like, it just reminded me of, like, when you read a Russian word and then you press the little, like, speaker thing so you can hear how it's pronounced so you can pronounce it correctly.
Oh, yeah,
You
no,
just said that in the exact tone.
Okay, right.
So I was just like, and then I was like, what? And then you said it again in the exact same tone. I was like, am I having a flashback?
Okay, fair enough. I probably pronounced it wrong for that. Apologies. Anyway, they've recently gotten into the Battlefleet Gothic tabletop game.
Wow, they're a bit late to the party, aren't they?
Yeah, well, I mean, totally via 3D printing and PDFs, apparently. But I think that's
okay.
fine.
Oh, completely legal ways. Yes, thank you.
Yes. They've been at a loss for the names of their ships. So they thought, why not let you name some? What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, right. First off, one needs to be called the Righteous Indignation.
Okay.
Because that's the name of the ship from Bucky O'Hare, and
Yes.
it is the most 40k name of something that isn't in 40k.
One of them needs to be called Priscilla after the bus, Priscilla, Queen of the Desert.
Yep.
Okay, we're coming at it from two very different angles of reference here.
Yes, we are. Drama Matt, what about you?
I don't know. I'm not very good at naming things. Our car is just called Car at the moment.
Well, I mean, like...
Why isn't it called Carl?
No, what's...
I mean, now it might be. Yeah, okay, can one of them just be named that sound? Just...
So, like Trixie Mattel and Katya's talk show.
Maybe. Maybe.
And I think you should name one...
You've already named one.
No, I want to name another one for Battle of Stoicism Gazebo.
There is a list of the different ships that they have, but I'm not sure how the type of ship is at all relevant to what you guys are going to come up with.
The next one is Battle for Stoicism Gazebo. The one after that is Tom Jones is My Dad. Or just Tom Jones for short. The next one is
Good old TJ.
Devil TJ. And the last one is Landlords Are Bad.
Okay. One of them's abolish the monarchy. One of them is seize the means of production.
Seize the beans of production. And then there's another one called Beans. And another one called Production.
Right, okay. Well, that's probably enough to work on.
Yeah.
Okay, good. What could have gone wrong?
What could have gone wrong? Everything
Next
did.
up, Dee Dee.
Get out of my lab, Dee Dee.
So, I was thinking of joining the Cardinal Archivists, but it's a long way to the Fortress Monastery, and the Astra Militarum conscription post was just down the street. So I just let them pick me up, and now I'm being sent to somewhere to surely die a horrific and gruesome death. So, the question is, any advice for a bog-standard guardsman on how to at least look really cool while being turned into biomass slurry or crotch-punched by a demonette?
Okay,
Hip thrusts.
Hip thrusts do work, but what you got to do is you got to make sure that you got to look out for the right kind of silhouette. So you know how on all the covers of 40k books and things, there's
Angry white men.
There's angry shouting white men, but
I am just getting all my digs in today. I apologise.
But there'll be like a pile of corpses and then people fighting on it.
Yeah, you need to look like a pile of corpses.
No. You've got to find that pile of corpses and then get to the top of it and strike a commanding pose, and then you can be that cool guy on top
who's getting killed instantly.
Yeah, you're going to die anyway.
Oh,
so
you want to do that. You want to do it on top of a pile of corpses. Is like that.
Yeah, you want to look like you want to be the person on the cover of the Codex.
Exactly.
I mean,
because Dee Dee's saying that the reason for this, there's they just feel like if they're going to go and die for the Big E, they're going to do it with some flair.
Yeah,
so I think that's probably some good advice.
What you should do also is rip the arms off your guardsman uniform, so you can flex while you're holding your arm up, so you look even more badass.
Yeah. And given Warhammer logic, you should probably take your helmet off the moment you get into battle, because models, which are people obviously, wearing helmets are usually they're fodder, whereas if they're not wearing a helmet, that probably means you're a named character.
Yeah.
So
also,
you should definitely, you might survive a bit longer.
Oh, I've got a great idea for Dee Dee. Okay, so what you do is you find another helmet, probably from another dead guardsman, because there's so many of them. And you put them on your shoulders.
The bigger your shoulder pads, the more important you are.
It's like Colonial Marines, where you just keep putting helmets on top of your helmet, but you just keep putting helmets on top of your shoulders until you have incredibly high shoulder pads and no helmet on your head. That means you are literally unkillable and might as well just be Emperor 2.
Yeah.
It's a
my patent.
I didn't realise we were starting
phenomenal.
the DD heresy, but apparently that's what we were encouraging.
What, living, surviving? I've just found a huge fucking spiderweb on my knee. I'm sorry.
I don't think it's a spiderweb. It's probably a hair.
No, how would a rabbit get in here?
I'm going to treat that statement with the contempt it deserves. Matthew, is there any other questions?
Yes, Scott. They finally checked out Streetlight Manifesto, and they are fething amazing.
Yes, they are.
Fething. Fething is the best swear word.
You've never heard Feth before?
I have not heard Feth.
They're gacking amazing, my man.
It's used a lot in Dan Abnett's 40k books.
It's instead of the fuck word.
Yeah, I got that.
Oh, okay.
So,
didn't realise you read all the books.
Scott saw that, Streetlight's label has been utter dicks as a rule, and that happens to a lot of bands.
Yeah.
So their question is, how can I best support artists that I love while giving the horrible labels as little blood money as possible?
Well, what you can do is go to gigs and buy their merch at their gigs, because that goes to artists 100%, merch sales anyway.
Depending on the band, some do.
Depending on the band, sometimes they'll but that's the most direct way to help them out.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or if they have a Patreon, or which
some bands do.
Some bands do, or if they have a PayPal, you can just chuck in a tip jar. But yeah, I'd say go to gigs, buy their merch at gig.
Surprisingly, we have discovered you get a shocking amount from not having that much play on Spotify as well.
Well,
So listen to
you
them on
say
Spotify.
shocking amount.
Well, I assumed nothing we'd get from
Yeah,
it.
okay, yeah. I guess, yeah, what you could do is whenever you're not doing anything on your phone, you can put Spotify on in the background and just repeat one of their albums.
Yeah, but we would never recommend doing that.
No, you only need, I think I worked it out at one point, you only need to buy 17 cheap Android phones for 20 quid each and have them 17 premium Spotify accounts, so one on each of them, play the album on repeat, and that's enough for a minimum wage job for a year. That's the equivalent.
Yeah, but you have to put the money down, though. And also,
Yeah, but not-
way to commit fraud!
How is it fraud? You're you can listen to them all at the same time. I'm not sure it's fraud to listen to the song 17 times
All
at
I'll
the same
say
time.
is it's what you have invented a situation where people will have to create new laws to make what you're doing be a crime.
Because they fucking will.
But I was working it out, and it's it seems like you need to have hundreds of things, but it's 16 or 17, and then that's enough for that assumes it scales right, and Spotify don't have a thing after you've listened to this album on repeat 14 times, we're not going to pay them anymore thing, which they probably do.
To be fair,
But if it scales, do that.
But my point was that yes, Spotify. If you're going to listen to a band, listen to them on something like Spotify, or if it's on YouTube, on their official thing rather than just the thing that someone's uploaded, because then they'll get a little money from that as well.
Mm-hmm.
There's lots of little ways, because the way little bands make music and the way they make money is so kind of scattered all over the place because of the nature of the internet. But yeah, ultimately it boils down to if you can buy directly from them, then do that. And the number one way is to get it from gigs if you can. Because lots of bands don't have labels now because it's not necessary at all to function as a band and get your music released.
Fuck music labels, basically.
Yeah, we were technically... Our first album was technically released on a label.
Yeah, on Ductopus Records.
No. It was released on No School, like the old school records.
Oh, shit. But then there was Ductopus Records.
Ductopus is our own record label that we made, which is totally technically a legit thing, despite it being just a tick box somewhere.
It was just, oh, hey, do you want to release these things on iTunes under a label? If so, tick this box.
It's yes.
Okay.
So then we made a Facebook account, and I sat there and I drew a duck with 8 tentacles, and we were like, yeah. And then that was it.
Yeah.
Never did anything else with it.
But it means that all our stuff is technically on that label that actually exists technically.
Yeah.
Technically.
Hey, I spoke about starting that record label in a job interview, so, it's all good.
Oh, shit. Nice. I started my own record label years ago.
If us doing that one time allows you to lie at a job interview, then it was worth it.
He didn't lie.
I didn't lie.
You stretched
Technically,
the truth.
It's a job
No.
interview.
No, because
And
actually
plus,
they
that's
said...
100% truthful. He did co-create a record label.
Yeah.
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 And then I spoke about how actually easy it is, but the interesting thing is taking the initiative to actually do it in the first place, rather than having to pay someone else to put your music online.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite easy to do, but it doesn't. You've got to have the thing to do it in the first place.
Yeah.
What
That
it
was
was doing
kind of
is
the point.
reminding me of how much I utterly despise job interviews.
Yep. But
Next
it's fine.
question.
Okie dokie. Next up, Chloe. Music related still.
Ooh.
What's the favourite song that our band has written?
Favorite to play or favorite to listen to?
That's an interesting distinction. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think to play,
Sky Pirates.
Yeah, I do really like to play Sky Pirates.
Playing Sky. It fucking cramps my hand up, but I like playing it.
Yeah, I do enjoy playing that one.
My favourite to play is 88.
Yeah, 88 is really good to play as well.
It's really good. I just love the giant epic bridge bit that we got. I just love how it builds. It's just like, oh yeah. It gets me super pumped each time.
It's pretty
Yeah, I
loud.
get that.
It's not at all the most us song, and it's not my favourite song to listen to, but it's one of my favourites to play.
Yeah, I don't know
Plus,
about
I just get
listening.
to shout Flux Capacitor on repeat for the whole
Flux
whichever bit of it I do that.
Flux capacitor, yeah.
But I don't know about
the bit where I started doing that while recording it. The
As
guy
a
who was
joke.
recording us stopped. No, not as a joke, because that's just what I do in that bit. But I started doing. We got to it's the chorus that I sing that in the background. And I was just singing through and doing the harmonies and things for the verse. And we got to the chorus, I started doing that. And the guy recording it stopped, was like... And I was just like, why have you stopped? He's like, that's actually part of the song.
That is not a good sign. That's a bad sign, y'all. Ooh.
Oh, no, actually, you know what is probably my favourite to play? And it's probably one of my favourite to listen to as well, because every time I listen to it, it's in the company of other people for the same reason.
Grannies.
Or like Avia Mia...
Something faster.
It's in Latin. I always forget.
Yeah.
I always forget what it is. But we always just call it grannies.
Which is something like, it's Latin, like really bad Latin for the Grand Matriarch saw my sausage.
Yes.
Or something stupid.
But because the song is about your grandmother seeing your dick while you're masturbating, and
then coming on her.
I never ever
specifically in her eye.
Yeah.
Yep. And then she's like, "Oh, your granddad's dick is so much bigger."
Yeah.
And it's like, Grandma.
And because that song, the subject matter of that song, I have never got bored of playing this earnest power ballad that is about that in front of groups of people and watching the reaction go between.
It's the realization of just like, wait, what the fuck?
It's the realization, the amusement, the horror. They go through all the layers of like
denial. Anger, bargaining.
Whilst listening to it, and I have never ever got bored of that reaction.
Honestly, that always breaks me whenever we play it on stage. Like, I'm like the only one of the band who is fucking laughing like my dick off when I'm like listening. But like, I've started getting better for it. But it's the wiener part that makes me fucking lose it every time.
Oh yeah, when we recorded it and
peering at my wiener.
Putting like the echo on it, and it's just beautiful.
It just breaks me every time I hear it. It's so funny. But yeah, favorite to listen to, I'd say it's a bit two-tone, but I'd say Lesbians. I just think that sounds really good, and I like the horns in that. Bass is punchy, is good.
What I like is that's one of those. That's the song that I think my dad said of it. Of like, oh yeah, that's like. You know, your other songs like good and all that, but that's like a proper song, and I'm like, thanks, Dad.
Wow, Dad. Okay. Nice.
It's like, I know what you mean, but also maybe don't say that like that.
It's like, I've had people react to my art like, oh wow, that's like a real picture. It's like, yes, bitch. I spent 3 hours on this. Fuck you. Oh, fuck you. That's the only reason I was able to afford Christmas presents this year, you douche.
But yeah.
Drummer Matt, what about you? What's your favourite song to listen to?
To listen to?
By the way, I'm aware this is probably confusing to people that aren't aware of our musical output. We are in a band called Fighting Evil is Cool. The song you hear at the start of these podcasts is one of our songs. Go listen to them. They're all on YouTube.
Listen to them on Spotify.
Nice. No, listen to them on Spotify.
Buy 17 Spotify accounts.
Buy 17 Spotify accounts
17
on
separate
17
mobile
smartphones.
Pay for, like, you'd probably be able to get away with, like, 3 or 4, like, family
Then don't tell anyone
things.
we said this, because then I'm pretty sure we're doing a crime. We're just not sure which crime.
All of them.
Neither are they, which makes it fine.
Basically, be gay, do crimes, is what we're saying. But only Spotify crimes that benefit us.
Yeah, don't do this with your own music and make a living for yourself.
No, fuck you. This is our time.
It's probably fine if someone else does it.
No. If you want to do it, just be smart about it. Fuck big corporations, they're stupid. Anyway!
Anywho,
we've
my
finished
favourite to
discussing breaking the law.
Is, possibly Sky Pirates.
Sky Pirates is it's such a fun, bouncy song.
Which one has space? Which one has space sax? Is that past Sky Pirates?
That's Lesbians.
That's Lesbians. Ooh,
space sax. I just remember, like, when we were recording that for like a week afterwards, you would just like unprompted during a lull in conversation would just start singing space sax, which was honestly beautiful. So I have very good memories of space sax.
Yes.
Okay. Good. A follow-up, if slightly unrelated question from Chloe. If you could gain one animal trait, what would it be?
Territorial pissing.
I think you could do that anyway. You could do that now.
Yeah, but it won't be as good.
You want the ability to smell the territorial piss?
No, I want the ability for everyone else to smell my territorial piss. So I want really stinky pee.
I mean, you can do
stinky
that.
pee.
You want stinky pea, but you can do that. You can just eat different things.
I don't wanna.
Asparagus.
I fucking hate asparagus.
Well,
It
if
is
you
the
want
devil's
stinky,
fucking
if you want
leaf.
stinky piss, then that's the price you must pay.
Okay, then I take it back. I don't want stinky piss.
I mean, okay.
Fine, they won't have stinky piss. It's the weirdest tantrum you ever did, Dick.
Is
sure?
it really the weirdest tantrum I've ever had?
Are you 100% sure?
Yeah,
about
I'm
that?
really not. I'm really not sure.
Okay, well, I'm thinking of a new one. How about you guys go?
I want to be able to do what mantis shrimp do and punch so fast that you boil water around your fist.
Oh, so then in the morning you just fill up a bucket from like the tap, and then you just like, and then you can just put the tea bag.
Yeah,
in
I'll
it.
instantly boil water for a cup of tea by punching it.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
is that just you just want to be a mantis shrimp so you can see in like a million more like colors or
I
something?
don't think I could deal with that responsibility. No.
Can you imagine like using Photoshop would just be impossible? Because you'd be like, oh, yeah, I've painted this the new color Grunkle. It's very beautiful. And someone's like, why is it green? And you're like, oh.
Fuck you. That's Grunkle, not
And
green.
then you punch them so hard you boil all their blood in their Actually, mantis shrimp are amazing.
Yeah, you just punch.
Mantis shrimp are amazing.
You're like,
I love how like yes, people have tried to keep them as pets, and they just punch a hole out the fucking like side of the tank, and then they die out of like sheer spite.
Yeah.
Like, you can't contain me, smash, with it. Because
Yes.
they all have like New York accents.
Oh, that was
Yeah.
a New York accent. That's embarrassing.
Yeah, for New York.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, you do one.
I can't do
Exactly.
one. That's why I'm not doing one.
Nah, I can. It's amazing. That's my John Bernthal impersonation.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Matthew, what would be your animal power?
I don't know. I quite like a platypus's like poisonous elbows. I quite like to say,
No,
"Hi,
it's
I have poisonous
elbows
elbows."
singular.
Is it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just one, and it's a
Okay.
knee.
Okay, well I'll have that trait on both our elbows. Fine. If you-
Okay, you don't. But what
But
if
you
that?
have them on their knees.
But what if that came with that you lactate out of all your sweat glands? Like
only
platypuses also have?
only the male
and lay
has,
eggs
is
and have a beak
venomous.
for some reason.
Yeah, only the male has like the the venomous spike.
Oh, I
Well,
didn't
that's
know.
fine for
Yeah.
me.
No, okay.
Yeah,
So Matt does not have to lactate head to foot.
no. Although
Don't
I
have to.
he doesn't have to. But he
Would you
will.
like to?
Yeah. Well, but apart from I'm only allowed one trait, and I'm
Oh, we
probably
can
not
like
going to have that as the
squeeze
only
drum
one.
mat off and sell like drum milk.
No one wants drum milk.
You don't
No,
know
it's
that.
too thick.
Leave comments if you want some thick drum milk.
It is thick whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
The fresher it is,
Okay.
the thicker it is.
No. You need to.
No,
you
you
need-
stuck with your stinky piss. We're sorry.
Yeah. Stinky piss is your first answer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I want big retractable like claws.
Yeah, you stuck with stinky piss. Sorry.
No, I want that. So then like someone like could be like, here, shake my hand. I voted conservative, and I can just literally just tear out the tendons from their hands and make them eat them.
That's okay.
And then I'll do a big stinky piss on them.
Okay. We're
Because
back
I've
to
been
Okay,
eating
fine, you can-
asparagus.
Okay, next question.
You can have both, but only because you're using your power for good.
Thank you.
Stinky
Piss powers for the greater good.
Yeah. Dark Angels Fallen.
Yep.
This is not so much a question as some anime suggestions, if you're interested to hear them.
Okay. I also thought Dark Angels Fallen was a statement. I was like, yeah.
Half of
Yeah.
them did, yes.
Okay, so these are their words, not mine, because I don't know any of these, I'm afraid. So first up, Girls' Last Tour. It's set in a post-apocalyptic world, and it's full of the feels.
Okay. So is that a post-apocalyptic world?
Well, I don't know, that could be a typo.
Okay.
It's just a normal world, everything got better.
So it's not post. Well, I mean, it's
I
a
don't know.
pre-apocalyptic
You
world.
could say something like
I know
Attack
nothing.
on-
I know nothing about this, so like I didn't want to correct it. So
I mean, you could say something like Attack on Titan is a post-apocalyptic world because it's a society that has fully formed and functions-ish after the apocalypse, after the world as we know it has ended. and this is the world after the apocalyptic part of it.
Nah.
So you could say things like that, or
No, it's a
post-apocalypse.
pre-apocalypse. Because everything is a pre-apocalypse until apocalypse happens.
Well, it depends on if you define apocalypse as being the actual end of the world or merely a really bad time.
I mean, like an apocalyptic level event.
Yeah.
We can't
Okay.
define apocalypse as really bad time, because considering when this podcast come out, that means we're having an apocalypse.
We're having a very dull, slow apocalypse, that is
Yeah,
true.
very boring dystopia. Don't even have, like, the comfort of, like, cyberpunk aesthetic or anything.
Yeah.
But okay, yeah. That sounds cool.
Okay, next up, Overlord, which is a better done SAO style.
Okay.
Not
Sword
that I know
Art
these-
Online. Is
Yes,
what they're
okay,
called.
good.
Sword Art Online, I thought was garbage.
Well, this is better done, so...
Oh, cool. Excellent.
Yeah.
The next one, I'm honestly not sure how much of this is the title of it and how much of this is... I could have done research.
No.
I mean, yes, but why break from tradition?
Yeah, exactly.
Very spicy
number
today,
3.
aren't you?
Apparently.
Number 3. Did I not say to make my powers average in the next life?
Okay.
It could be a recommendation. It could just be a statement unrelated to the recommendations.
Yeah, that is a...
So Dark Age was fallen. I'm not taking the piss of you, by the way. I'm just taking the piss of my lack of ability to check anything before I have to read it out. Like,
I mean,
on a
that's
recording.
fair. But I've literally been reading a manga that's called "I'm a Middle-Aged Man Who Got My Adventurer License Revoked, but I'm enjoying a carefree lifestyle because I have an adorable daughter now." So that's very possible
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
that that's just the name of it.
Okay, the fourth one I can get behind. So the fourth one is called After School Dice Club, and it's about people discovering that board games are awesome.
That reminds me a little bit of oh shit, I can't remember the name of the anime, but it's about Karuta, which is a Japanese thing, which is actually
When you say a Japanese thing,
it's a
you
Japanese
need to...
like game. It's like
Okay.
it's basically where it's like multiplayer poetry with cards.
Oh shit! Yeah, no, I remember that.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, they basically have like segments of a poem in front of them, and somebody reads out a poem, and when you hear the line, you're supposed to knock the card away that has that line on it, and yeah.
I'm honestly surprised that there hasn't been a version of a Cards Against Humanity style game that is
Karuta?
made entirely out of dirty limericks.
There once was a man from Nen. There we go. I win.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Entrepreneurs out there, you can have that one for free.
Good, and that is some recommendations.
Okay,
Cool.
They also ask if we might, the band wise, might have any new music coming out anytime soon.
Nah.
Soon is not a
Soon
even
is a
like concept we can deal with as a band.
yeah. Maybe at some time in the future.
It is-
Thank you for your interest.
It is very possible that Fighting Evil is Cool as an entity will create new music in the future. The future is a long time.
In the post-apocalyptic world of Brexit Britain. Post-Brexit Britain. Post-apocalyptic post-Brexit Britain. We might do some post-hardcore.
Yes, we will pivot to be a post-hardcore
I'm game for
band.
that.
Yeah, I know you're game for that.
What's post Scar?
I don't know, Scott, like you basically when you drop all your mail and you have to pick it up.
Okay, you win the podcast again. That's fine.
I want you to know that I both hate
is-
you and I have never been prouder.
Fucking hell.
I've killed Drummer Matt. Oh
That's too good. I feel like given infinite rehearsal time, that couldn't have been better.
no! Thank you. Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you.
Drop
So
the
fucking
mail.
awful. Oh my god.
Okay. Moving on.
Yes.
Fine. Next up, Zingbo.
Hello.
They open up by saying they were going to ask this in the YouTube comments, but they thought they'd have a better chance of getting an answer here, so apologies for the lack of YouTube engagement.
Oh, that's fine.
As long as you like the video, it's fine.
That's fine. We hardly ever respond to YouTube comments because YouTube comments are a terrifying, anxiety-inducing mess to deal with.
Very
Yeah.
scary.
But yeah, they apologise. So the question is, have Snipe and Kirioth had a Dreadwolf versus Dreadmob grudge match yet?
Not yet, no.
If not, when is it going to happen?
I don't know. I feel that he's a competent player, and I'm just
a player.
a shithead.
For my context, your Dreadwolf is wolves that are dreadnoughts.
Yes.
What's the dread mob?
It's a mob of dreads.
Yeah.
They're all kind of like ramshackle, made of like weird parts.
Ooh, cool.
They're very cool
they
army.
are
Is
very
Kirioth's dread army? It's very cool.
Yeah. So I think if I wanted to win, I just have to put my Metal Bjorn in a sock and just bludgeon him.
That may be the best way.
Well, the last thing here is they're saying that maybe Wibb's Derpy Rogue Trader era Dreadnought can referee, and I feel like if there was a referee involved, you might not allow Dread Sock.
Well, I mean, then I just have to hit him first.
Yeah.
Win by default because he's unconscious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But no, it has not happened. But that sounds like a fun thing that maybe we should try and see if could happen one day.
What if I can just knock Kirioth
No,
unconscious?
that you should play him in a legitimate game of Warhammer, and it doesn't involve anyone getting a concussion.
Then what's the point of playing?
Yeah, first they take away whippy sticks, and then they take away
Red
Concussions.
Yeah, thanks Games Workshop for removing concussions
Oh
from
yeah,
the
we
world.
didn't mention this because it's only happened recently.
fucking.
Oh,
Are you
yeah.
going to say James Workshop?
Games
Yeah.
Workshop stole our fucking James Workshop joke.
Yeah, there was no way anyone else but us could have come up with that, and we are so genuinely angry we could shit.
It is a genuine grievance that we are genuinely angry about.
Oh, so genuinely angry.
To the point that I've actually been like tempted to go, hey Games Workshop, if your graphics design department can't be asked, I literally have like
James
a
Workshop.
crazy high-res version of the Games Workshop logo modified to be James Workshop. Do you want it?
I mean, to be fair, the amount of errors in the actual Games Workshop logo.
Oh come on, the original Games Workshop logo was made in the fucking 70s.
Fair.
I think it was in the 70s. That they
Well, I
started
mean,
using that
it's not
logo.
Games Workshop anymore. It's like Warhammer.
Well, Games Workshop does still exist
Yeah,
as
but
an entity. It's just their
Warhammer.
shops are called Warhammer now.
No one calls. I'm gonna go to Warhammer. No, you're not, mate. You're gonna go to Games fucking Workshop or G Dubs, as I keep referring to it.
Yeah, when did we start calling it G-dubs? I think we started it ironically, and then we've just started saying it like
Yeah, because
all
it's
the
like,
time
I'm
now.
gonna go down and get my Harbinger of Decay from G Dubs, and just
Because it's awful. It's an awful thing to call it, but we've just started unironically saying it.
G Dub Dubs. G W. I like G W,
GW.
which is
Can
French
we-
for W.
Can we please move on?
No, W.
All right, okay, very last question.
Okay.
Acidus.
Hello.
Which 40k characters would you most like to run a D&D group with?
As a DM, I think it depends. Like if they're going to be the DM or if they're going to be another player.
Well, that sounds like run a thing. Sounds like you're DMing.
Because I'd say that if I was going to have it as a DM, Alfarius would probably make a very good DM because it'd be all twists and turns and you wouldn't know where it was going.
Yeah, but he wouldn't have a plan.
No, he would have a plan, and it'd be a terrifying one. But he'd appear like he didn't have one.
Okay.
So I think that'd be the way. I think that'd be the way to go for that. To play with, I probably wouldn't go with Angron because he'd definitely eat the dice.
He'd eat the dice and the fucking DM board.
If
Possibly
you're
the DM.
If you're DMing, then you want someone who's good at strategy. So like your Dawns, your Gilmans, they'd probably be very satisfying
Yeah,
players.
but they'd be like Dawn would be so like humorless and be like, well, we have to. He'd be like the ultimate min maxer.
Oh, he'd totally
He'd be
run
so
like
tedious.
just a regular ass fighter.
He'd munch.
And it'd be min max to the extreme. But I think you're gonna, if you're dealing with the Primarchs who
You want to play? No, you want to play with the Ultramarines because that's their shtick. Is like running tactical simulations and stuff.
Yeah.
and like what ifs.
We do know
they come up with the coolest.
We do
plans.
know that because that the Ultramarines will be the Space Marines who are probably the best at Warhammer 40,000. Mm-hmm. So
I would say I'd say I'd play with Tanith's finest.
The first and only.
The first and only. Because then it would be strip D&D.
You just want to play with fucking, is it Mad Larkin?
Oh, and like Gaunt himself, he's an incredibly handsome man.
He is.
Like that picture, it's like, damn! Ooh! Ooh, he is a very handsome man.
I've read like the first 3 Gaunt's Ghost books. There's like a couple of them where Reach just like gets his end away and it's like, yeah, fine, mate.
It's like, yeah, mate, go for it.
Yeah, you go for it.
Yeah.
Overall, I mean, you could play with like Khan, who would only eat half the dice as opposed to Angron, who would eat all of the dice.
Oh, he
Is
would.
that like 2 out of every 4 dice, for example, or is that half of each dice?
Half of each. He'd take a bite out of every one and then he'd put them back.
An interesting question that you'd only find out once the session begins.
Okay.
So, Drummer Matt, what about you? Because I can imagine playing D&D with an ethereal would be the worst thing in the world. It's like, oh yeah, I go in for my 3rd attack. You don't have any. Yes, I do. And then every tower would be like, yeah, they do. Says so in the rules. And it's like, no, it doesn't. Oh my God.
You know what would actually be interesting? Running a campaign of just orcs. Because A, they'd probably get very offended when orcs started coming up and being all the enemies.
Fair.
They'd go, that's profiling. That's really messed up.
Yeah.
But also, because you'd get to see the wondrous thing of a group that is made entirely of barbarians, because that is obviously what they pick.
Yeah, but then there's no point in even creating a story, because they'd be like, I walk into the pub. It's like, you see a bard, I kill him. Take his head.
They wouldn't necessarily kill him. I think they'd start off, if they were in a bar, I think they'd start off with punching.
Okay, they start punching, but then they just kill everyone in there and no quests get done.
No quest will get done. You would have to lead them by the nose, very much so. You'd have to make all their quests be about punching everyone they meet.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it
It'd
depends.
make it for an interesting one-shot.
But yeah, Drummer Butt, what about you?
Well, I was going to go, they almost linked, and also linked to the time of year. I want to play a session with Red Gobbo and some of his buds.
Yeah.
I think it'd be quite good fun. Because you can spend half the time playing. I feel like, Gobbos are a bit more intelligent, so they might not just want to play characters that just punch things. Mm-hmm. And then also we could spend half the session just moaning about the orcish class and things.
That sounds good.
I feel like it might be quite a fun evening with a couple of drinks and
Bit of fungus beer, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Bit of fungus beer, and you get the Gretchen Revolutionary Committee.
Yeah.
Together.
That's the thing that I meant to say and forgot what it was called.
But
No, I'm down. I'll be down with that.
You guys can come play
short.
with. Yeah, you guys can come play with Gaunt's Ghosts if you want, so you can do big kissing on them if you want. That's fine.
All right. Yeah. I don't recommend doing that with any of the gobbos that I'm playing with.
Well, I mean, you could do. You
They're
just
a bit teethy.
I mean, that's kind of cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
No? Am I on my own here?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. No one here's got a thing for half orc teeth? Or orc teeth?
I mean, they look cool, but I don't think I'd necessarily want them in a make-out situation.
Well, I mean, they don't
or in other bits of my body, to be honest.
Well, I mean, you could put corks on the end. Were you drinking tea?
Well, only water, so it's fine that it got everywhere.
Well,
congratulations. All of your talk about bedding orcs has indeed made Matt wet. So.
Well, I mean, his bones were already wet, but now the rest of the outside of him is too. So
yes, you've tied that back round to the start. Do we have any more
Yeah,
questions?
it's almost like we planned it.
But we didn't.
Apart from it's not at all like we planned it.
Because it would have been way better. And I would have forgotten
No, that
everything.
is the end of the questions. That's the end of the podcast.
Oh, excellent. It is the end. So
It's
now
finally over.
So I guess thank you to everybody for listening, and we can now go away and think about what we've done.
I won't.
No, you won't. So goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.